Well, let's do the Disney alien encounter. We sent a genius to the society there. I went to a local school and they didn't even have computer programming classes. So then I go to the Disney and I go to Alien Encounter and it's closed down. Nobody can go to Alien Encounter because Alien Encounter was under renovation at the time. Well, if I expand that into a larger picture, you know, my dad says one day they're going to find out there's aliens. Well, what about that science? Well, the Bible says people used to live to be 300, 400 years old. You got to think about that because the closer you are to the sun, the more radiation exposure you get. And the more radiation exposure you get, then, the faster your cells grow and deteriorate. Or if you got healthy, good cells and genes, then, you grow and they don't deteriorate as fast. So, now, I want you to think about the carbon footprint when I say, can you lower the carbon footprint? Well, yeah, you put seeds in the ground and they grow out, and the carbon, it joins and bonds with it and makes plants and crops and trees and stuff, and it cuts down on the radiation exposure. And then, say if you were to put a colony on Mars, it wouldn't be people at first. Maybe you just put like greenhouses, What's the greenhouse effect? Well, my dad had his retirement in the Navy at the greenhouse so that we could say, hey, you know what the greenhouse is? Well, what is the Mars exploration I was talking about over the summer, building facilities out there in the desert to restore crops and trees and stuff in the desert? Well, the reason why is because we need people with more technical experience. If you build a robot, you see those robots we got riding all over Mars, Mars Explorer robot, and it's like, they're all automated, right? Now, if you had automated robotic farming, then you go, oh, well, we need people to know about botany, because they know about farming and you got automated robotic farming. I'll tell you why that's important. You go, what's robotic farming and it can't do this? Well, why does it do that? Because if they don't know what it does, it's like when I went and worked for this gun factory. Every time I see a part, I look at the guy and I'm like, hey, you like that Q guy off of James Bond? He had a British accent and everything at the gun factory. I'm like, what's this do? Well, this little fork is a balance so the gun doesn't fire all like this, crazy, like a sprinkler, We need sprinklers, not gun sprinklers, So, and think about that. I mean, like, well, if they don't know how to build robotics, then we can't build robotic farming. And why is that important? I'll get to it in a minute. And you go, well, if you got people who know how to build robotics, but they don't know anything about botany, then you got a problem with the feedback from computers and machines to people, and from people to machines, just like the crops on the farm. Well, this broke down on this farm, and we can't get a repair robot over there to fix it, until the next scheduled, exchange. So, what are we gonna do to improvise? Well, then the technicians can get together because they know about botany and why this is important and what can do that, and another method, they could use until that machine could get fixed. And they go, we'll do it like this, and then you grow crops in a greenhouse on Mars. You don't need people there if you've got robotic farming. You go, oh, wow. Why do you think we need soil samples from Mars? Oh, Mars is further away from the sun. So if Mars is further away from the sun, it's got less radiation exposure, unless there's no atmosphere, then but it's still farther away from the sun. So the radiation is different there. Now, if you've got it in a greenhouse and you've got a radiation exposure protection, then when you start getting those trees and stuff growing in the greenhouse with the crops and stuff, then you go, now you've got like a simulated atmosphere in there, and they go, whoa, and that carbon starts reassembling, like, Star Trek, like, beam me up out of the soil, and the carbon in the air starts, and you've got to have a filtration system to let some of that carbon from the atmosphere into the greenhouse to give the greenhouse effect, You go, oh, terraforming. Why is that important to have robotic farming? Because Mars is smaller than the Earth last time I checked, but, you get a farming planet, with robotic farming. You seen that movie Aliens? They got, aliens like a colony on Mars growing food and crops and stuff. But if something happens and they lose the crops or pressure or something, then people start fighting. Don't be the ghost of Mars. Now you understand that movie? And they go, robotic farming and stuff, then you got like a starship. You go and we got to stop by Mars, pick up some supplies, go explore this planet. Okay, now to come back to Mars, pick up supplies, you know. Then you got like an automated thing come down, and you got like a skeleton crew there going, hey, the supply ship just landed. We got to fill it up. Okay, up to the starship. Okay, your ship's over. You're going home for a while. Back and forth like that you know. But if you overpopulate Mars and then like, oh, you eat up all the crops because they ain't even grown yet. So, robotic farming. And they go, oh, what do you think China's been working all these robotics and stuff for electronics? And then you got to work on the psychology because, can't have anybody getting space cabin fever. So, got to have the psychology. Got to have everybody on the same page. And then they go, oh man, that's the Starship Enterprise. Hey, Bill Gates said, hey, we got Windows Enterprise services. Where's your window world? We're like, well, we don't need window world, people crawling through windows. We need windows in space. Like, there's our window to get to that planet and pick up those crops. Let me tell you why that's important. Well, it's in a greenhouse, and a greenhouse effect, you're growing new seeds. And those new seeds aren't in the same rate of exposure as Earth is. So when those seeds grow, they go, we've got better, stronger seeds. They're not as radiated. And then you ship the seeds back to Earth 2. And then you go, oh, that's what that movie Earth 2 was about? Yeah, like Mars. That's like Earth 2 to ship better seeds for growing crops back to Earth also. And they go, pretty good idea. Well, if you got less gravity, okay, like they've been growing these plants and crops on the space station and less gravity, if you got less gravity, less radiation exposure, then what do you get? Well, you got to have the greenhouse effect. Why do you think they made these little lamps and stuff that you can use to grow plants? You build that on Mars, it's solar power. Then they go, oh man, that's pretty cool. Yeah, less gravity. So then you've got seeds expanding, right? And then, oh wait, the seeds expanded more than it usually would on Earth. So now we've got a bigger picture of that seed with the microscope. Really get some cool stuff going on. So you mean now I can look at the smaller picture with the bigger picture with a microscope also? When you ship those seeds back, think, oh man, this is cool. Then you say, okay, well let's put it under the dirt. What's it do? Compresses. Oh, so it's compressing the seed, right? Which means when the sun hits it and the water hits it, it's want to go to do what? Grow up out of the dirt faster. Oh man, what an idea. I mean, that's a scientific project. There's my project solution. It's like, hey, NASA, you guys want to try that one out?